Chairman, before I came to the platform, I heard my friend and colleague, Wilfred Abrams, in evangelical style, recognizing that we stand and sit tonight in the shadow of a church called Providence. And I don't know if he told you, but I will tell you that Providence, the word Providence, implies God in the sense of a protector, one who cares. Welcome tonight to the platform that cares. Welcome to a platform of God. Welcome to a platform of the Barbados Labour Party. Welcome in your large numbers. Good night and welcome. I went to a meeting on Friday, and it was a meeting to plan this meeting. We are a party that plans things properly. And I wanted a certain subject. I wanted a subject that I felt that you would be interested in and that I would be interested in. But the chairman of that meeting said to me, Ralph, I want you to speak on governance. And as a loyal and obedient servant in a well-organized party, I recognize that I could not disobey the instruction of a prime minister in waiting. I recognize the importance of governance. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I have come to this place under the instruction of Mia Amor Motley, a prime minister in waiting, to address you on the important topic of governance. And you may ask yourselves, you hear the word every day. And the more you hear a word, sometimes you feel it loses its meaning. It is a very simple word. Very simple word. It is the way in which a party governs. It is the way in which a government governs. It is the way in which a government uses the institutions of state to order the lives of people in a community. That is all governance is about. And I suspect the reason your numbers are so large, the reason the events of tomorrow will take place, the reason there is so much disquiet in Barbados is because governance has gone awry in this country. And this party is the only party that will return decency and integrity to governance in this country. I want to say to you that governance basically exists in two aspects. Let us get serious tonight, because the state of Barbados is very serious. Very serious. There are people who are going to march or strike tomorrow, and they're feeling pain. And let us come and empathize and respect the pain that they feel. Governance exists in two aspects. One, a style or a form, the way in which people govern, the things they say. But there's another aspect of governance, and it's called the content or the substance. Not what they say, but what they do. And it is in that latter regard that this government has failed you. This government has found itself unable to do. And from the year 2008, when they came into office, they came to you with an excuse that they had come not to build an economy, but to build a society. It was a public admission that they could not run the economy of this country, which you need in order to build a society. They did not recognize the connection between the two. It was an admission of a failure of substance in this government. And that is why the events of tomorrow will take place. They're not the events of this party, by the way. They are the events of an independent trade union. And so must it remain independent, but with the support of this great Barbados Labour Party, which gave birth to trade unionism in this country. And so, after 7 years of famine, we come to the point of recognition that this is a government without substance. This government has come to a point of self-recognition of a government which is unable to fix this economy, a government which is presiding over a failing society, and that is what the governance of this Democratic Labour Party has done to your lives and the lives of those who will strike tomorrow. These are serious times, my friends. So as an alternative to substance, what this government has done is to concentrate on style, form, and I will give you a few examples. Every night you turn on your TV, if you're still foolish enough to turn on your TV at 7 o'clock, style. One minister after another from 7 to 7:30. You know, I feel that I could extend a few mics up there. But the things you said, madam, though true, I can't say here. Not in the shadow of that Methodist church called Providence. You open your paper on Monday mornings. One minister after another grinning at the camera. One down there, Christchurch, best example every day. That's, yes, Minister of Sport. Every day, what the advertisers call a Kodak moment. And I want to recommend to him that he pauses for a cerebral minute. Use your brain for a minute, Lashley. Become a minister of substance, not form, not self-promotion and self-advertisement. That is what they have reduced governance to in this country. A pappy show, an emergence on the pages of the nation, an appearance on television every night between 7 and 7:30 to fool you that they're doing something to better your lives. That is what governance in this country has become. They have failed. And I want you to appreciate these things. And I want you to recognize that what this government is about is not substance, it is form. And what is more dangerous is that that form is propaganda. Take it very seriously. Adolf Hitler's most important minister was a man called Goebbels. He was the minister of propaganda. And I want to say to you that anytime a regime is basing its entire existence on propaganda, the next step after propaganda is violence. And if you tell me that this is not a violent government, I will provide you examples. This is a violent government, and the events of tomorrow stand as proof that this government that stops your children from going to the University of the West Indies is a government that pursues violence. A government that has changed the meaning of the word retire to dismissal is a violent government. You don't retire anybody. What are they going to court for? To tell a high court judge that you have the power to retire a man? So if you want to get rid of somebody, you're going to say, I retire you? What utter nonsense. But this is a government of propaganda. And this is a government of violence. They have not yet taken up the guns. But tonight, Providence, we are dying. And the only rescue is a return to the 14 years of plenty. The 14 years that this country experienced between 94 and 2008. We've had 7 years of famine, Providence. The time has come for plenty once again. But I have something else to say to you about propaganda. The first tool, the tool of first choice of this government. It is not only Lashley and Jones, well, not Stewart because he doesn't say anything. But it is not only those persons who are engaged in this program of propaganda. They are deploying certain agencies in this country. And the chief agency that they have employed is the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. And that is why I urge you not to subscribe to the news between 7 and 7:30 at night. It will fill your mind with misinformation. It will mislead you. It will give you the impression that this government is doing something in your interests. It will continue to tell you that the plight of Barbados has to do with an international recession when it does not. The United States and Britain have come out of recession. Where is Barbados tonight? But it is not only the ministers. This government has employed CBC, but we expect that. Because for the time being, CBC is owned, it used to be owned by the state. CBC is now owned by the Democratic Labour Party. But if anybody here tonight expected me to come and spend more than 3 minutes on CBC, I must disappoint you. I want to invite you to spend a little more time than 3 minutes on another agency of the media which has been involved in propaganda on behalf of this government. And I want to leave the plane, and I want to go into Bridgetown, and I want you to join me and ask some questions of a radio station called Voice of Barbados. Let us not be afraid. I want you to ask the management of Voice of Barbados, Starcom, whatever it is called. And it is time we ask these questions. Why is it that a group of people, and I will name them, Mr. Tony Marshall, Mr. Don Marshall, help me, Miss Maxine McLean, Mr. Harry Husbands, Mr. Eddie Akintulov Corbin, my neighbor. Give me another name. I heard you. You believe, Providence, you believe Barbados Labour Party that it is any coincidence that all those persons are serving in office with the Democratic Labour Party? You believe it is any coincidence that they were calling program moderators on VOB? We want to write an official letter to VOB tomorrow morning and ask VOB, explain this coincidence to us. And if you can't explain it, we must then charge you with being party to a program of propaganda, not against the Barbados Labour Party, but against the people of Barbados. And the last name I heard from the crowd was Miss Tricia Watson. Now, I really paused to get some water. I really paused to get some water. You really take a pause for water? I paused to consider that name. really believe I wanted water. The last name, she came on the calling programs. I heard, I don't listen to her, I heard. Crawled out of corporate cotton wool. Spent the last 15 years ensconced in corporate Barbados. And crawls onto the airwaves every day, speaking in a manner that defines the propagandistic agenda of the Democratic Labour Party. You know, before she does a year, before she has done 1 year, she is rewarded with a seat on a board. What's the name of the board? What's some electricity board? We want to write a letter to Starcom and ask Starcom to explain the continuing coincidence of an association between its moderators and this Democratic Labour Party. There is nothing objective about that program. But the danger in it is that it pretends to be objective. The danger in it is that it may mislead you because it is subtle. It is far less subtle than CBC. CBC comes out in the open and they have sent their moderators to preach the gospel according to George Street. But it is Starcom to which we listen more often, which presents a greater danger to the unsuspecting public in this country, Barbados Labour Party. Those who may have some doubt about this party or about the other party can well be swayed by the propaganda that they spout on a day-to-day basis. But don't listen to their voice. Look at their hands. Don't let the dilemma of Esau and Jacob fool you. Their voice is one thing, but they all end up on Democratic Labour Party boards or in the cabinet of this Democratic Labour Party VOB. I want an answer tomorrow morning. I want an answer to the charge of propaganda complicit with this Democratic Labour Party government. That is the answer we want tomorrow morning. But it does not stop there. Does not stop there. I told you, when propaganda emerges, violence follows. I want to suggest to you tonight, Providence, that this Democratic Labour Party is the most competent practitioner of political and economic violence. Let us turn to another media house. Chairman, how many more minutes do I have? How many? Thank you very much. Because I want to go to Fontebelle now. I want to go to Fontebelle. Let me go in peace. You really think I left home to come here to talk to the advocate? Let me drink some water. I will tell you a little story. I will give to you an anecdote. A few months ago, a certain official in government went to the nation on invitation of the editorial department there. Now, the nation might get back to me for bringing this out, but look, in public life, we need to have fewer secrets. And if the nation's editorial can't tell you, Ralph Thorne has come here to Providence tonight to share that secret with you. That a certain minister, no names, you're looking for a court case. A certain man went to the nation and by invitation to address them. And his first order of business was to look around that room to identify, according to him, I know who the bees are in here. He has gone there on invitation by the Nation newspaper. And his first order of business is intimidation. His first order of business is to identify, according to him, the supporters of the Barbados Labour Party in that organization. I say to you tonight, there is not a far distance between intimidation and violence. That is why I say they're violent men. And in the aftermath of that, this is now no secret, that what has happened to freedom of the press in this country has happened for the first time. Three top members of the administration of the nation are charged in a court of law. I read Roy Morris last week. Roy, I'm very sorry to call your name, but Roy Morris wrote in his column after his acquittal that even before they were charged, a certain person was in the VIP lounge at the Grantley Adams Airport saying that they would be charged and saying chapter and verse as to the content of the charges. This is a violent government. This is a government that will suppress freedom of the press. If we let them, will you let them? You thought they'd stop there. Another gentleman is going to be very disappointed that I came to this gentle little village and broadcast his name all over Barbados. But Barry Alleyne, I'm sorry. I have to do it. Now, most of you here don't know who is Barry Alleyne. Barry Alleyne is a gentleman who works, I believe he works in the sports department occasionally at the Nation. It seems that he alternates between sports and news. Barry Alleyne spent a few hours in a police station because he reported on an incident, on a conversation that took place out of a parliamentary sitting in this country. The ruling party in this country was unhappy with what Barry Alleyne reported, and he spent a few hours in a police station. That is why I say tonight to you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a violent government in Barbados. You didn't know that? Remember the name Barry Alleyne. All he does is his job. But he happened to be a member of an organization that faced an attack, an organization that faced words of intimidation by a person who went there trying to identify bees in the place. Because this government will never, and it does not tolerate dissent. You can't challenge them. You can't look in their face. And if you do, 3 Nation journalists will be charged. Barry Alleyne will spend some time in the police station, and they will not stop there. I don't know if the gentleman is in this audience tonight. I do not even know his name. But this is a man who apparently does something called blogging. Now, you see this blogging business? This illegitimate government came to office through rampant blogging, through defamation of characters. There are persons in that Democratic Labour Party who went on those blogs leading up to 2008 and made the most scurrilous, nasty attacks on members of the Owen Arthur government. So what they did to Miss Motley last week is nothing new. I have something to read for her before I leave here tonight. And I'm going to read it. But some man blogged about some incident. He alleged that a certain person, no names, was involved. He got charged. And I take it that the complainant in the case, the man who will go to court to give evidence, is a member of this government, who say that as a result of something a blogger said on a look, they're old people here. You all know what is a blog? It is just a publication on the internet. I am no computer wizard, but sometimes I want to feel that we are one. He wrote something, and I gotta be careful. A certain man in this country is destined to go to court to say that that blogger caused him distress. Say it again. A full-time one too. So that it is his intention to journey to the law courts in this country to say that something a man wrote simply because he feels it is not in his personal interests is a matter of crime. This is a violent government. This is a government that will criminalize the media if the media shows that it is independent of them. How much longer, Providence? How much longer, Barbados? How much longer? How much more can this country take?
So everything you shift the egg and shift on camera.
You thought they stopped there? You thought they had stopped there?
But it's not your fault.
Well, there's another case. And decency tells me, and the traditions of the law tell me, that I must not speak about it. But I want to come back. I want to travel back up Broad Street and go back to River Road, because I feel that this person, 3 minutes, I feel that this person who has coordinated those moderators must be called to answer. There's nothing wrong with being a Dems while being a journalist. There's certainly nothing wrong with being a B while being a journalist. What is wrong is to deny it. What is wrong is to use your voice in denial of an association with the DLP when your hands are unclean, when your hands are deep in the bosom of the Democratic Labour Party. That person must be called to account. Must be called to account. They told me I have 3 minutes. They told me I brought something here to share with you. And I'm very serious about this VOB thing. Tell your friends that that program has lost its way. It has lost its objectivity. And the evidence is in the fact of where the former moderators are now located. They were always in the bosom of the Democratic Labour Party, and they're no less so now. They hold office in the Democratic Labour Party, and that's the evidence. But they're desperate. And a desperate man who can do nothing for you must become violent. Hopefully, I have provided you with the evidence of violence. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than to be in a party with the likes of the compassionate, very modest Ronald Topping, a man experienced in government. Dale Marshall, young man experienced in government. The salt of the St. Thomas earth, Cynthia Ford. These are good and honest people. And I take pleasure in my association with them. I have come to you tonight with my voice. This is the voice of the son of a mother. This is the voice of a brother of two sisters. This is the voice of a husband of a wife. This is the voice of a father of two daughters. This is a man speaking to you. But I want to tell you, in addition to being a man, I recognize the importance of the female influences in my life. That there must be peace between men and women. And that there must be a recognition that God created men and women equally and equally. And anyone who has a difficulty with that, I am very sorry. But this son of a mother, this husband of a wife, this brother of sisters, this father of daughters will have no problem sitting under the leadership of a woman. I present with no insecurity, none whatsoever. And to that woman, I bring a few words from the American poet, bear with me, Maya Angelou. They told me that a few weeks ago in the House of Assembly, they were starting to question her credentials. And tonight I reach for a poem by Maya Angelou, a champion of women's rights, and a champion of human rights, and a champion of the rights of the oppressed. And I say when Maya Angelou to me immortally tonight, and this is the voice going to the Democratic Labour Party, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Rise, Barbados Labour Party, on the government in this country. Thank you very much. Good night, and God bless you.